Good morning, and welcome to today's edition of Voices, WinFM's program where you share your thoughts, your opinions, your views on topics of interest to you and of the nation. I'm Jermine Abel, filling in for the first hour for Clive Bacchus. Today we'll be talking IT in the age of COVID-19, and we have with us a rather popular figure here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Tishon Thomas of IT Solutions. Mr. Thomas, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
IT and COVID-19. How have you seen that here in St. Kitts and Nevis? I know a lot of people have been working remotely, and IT and businesses oftentimes have not been the same here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay. COVID-19 has definitely been a shock to our business community here in St. Kitts. And being a member of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce and having mainly businesses as our clients at SK90 Solutions, lots of businesses have sought to set up remote offices. So lots of the employees are working from home. Many of our businesses have actually purchased computers for the employees to work at home. Some have allowed them to work remotely by connecting to the computers at work, so which means they leave the computers on at work and allow the employees to remote in so that all the information stays within the company. Some allow them to have laptops and connect to their workplace using a VPN, a virtual private network, that keeps the information secure. Some have asked us to combine two separate offices into one network using a site-to-site VPN or other remote technologies. And as you have noticed, lots of the supermarkets have gone online. While before they were not set up for delivery, everybody now has at least a delivery platform and an online payment option.
Okay, when I look around St. Kitts and Nevis, we are IT-driven society, but this question is going to be kind of contradictory. We are somewhat of an IT island, but on the flip side to that, not a lot of businesses here in St. Kitts and Nevis focus or pay much attention on the IT and the whole online operations. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's really because while we're IT focused as a country, we're IT generated on the consumer sides. All of the children has devices, parents have devices, and everybody consume, because we get this from the American market. So we consume IT and media and social platforms a lot. But businesses in particular are different. Technology is not the focus of business. Technology is just a tool that business use. And unfortunately or fortunately, most of our businesses are still owned by the older folks. And that creates a digital divide. What I have seen happening is that some older business people, because they don't understand certain technologies, they're slow to implement them. Mind they're being forced because the environment is forcing it, but they've been slow to implement certain technologies. This COVID-19 shutdown has actually been a catalyst for some businesses. So a lot of plans that were slowly moving along had to be sped up. And within weeks, they moved from offline to online.
But that's where it seemingly is, I don't want to say hypocritical, but that's where it's strange, because it took the COVID-19 virus for us to see the importance of going digital in business.
Yes, that's because business, remember the goal of business is to be profitable and make money. And fortunately or unfortunately, you can still run a business and be profitable without the full use of technology. Technology make you more efficient, make you more agile, and make you more profitable. But you can still be profitable, still using a mix of old and new technology. What COVID-19 did is it exposed the weaknesses in not using technology, where you had no choice but to use technology because the old ways could not work in the new social distancing era, where businesses are shut down, where you can't line up in long lines anymore. Now all of a sudden, businesses that had mobile apps are now saying, "Hey, yes, we have these apps already. Use them." And they know, you'll notice, you'll see a lot of marketing in, "Hey, we have these apps. You could use them. Here, come and sign up. We'll help you sign up." They're now pushing them now. But before, it was, they were getting their monies. They were still getting business. So
since the COVID-19, how have you seen, as somebody who are a business entity or entrepreneur who deals primarily with IT, how have you seen the response from corporates in Kitts and Nevis? Actually, are they receptive to the new technology? I know a lot of them were forced into it. Mm-hmm. How have you seen? Have you seen an uptick in the request?
Yes, we've definitely seen an uptick in requests for basically working from home, providing more remote support, and VPN systems, which is virtual private networking. And one thing, I think it will change the future in so much so that what I think will happen is that businesses are now realizing that they could do a lot more with less people because of this new technology, because of this working from home. So I've had clients who basically said, "Hey, I was about to, get a new office, but I think I like this setup. I don't think I'll be moving into an office anymore. I just need to make sure that the security at my employee's home is up to date. And there's a lot we could do from home. And so the businesses then have less resources, like they don't have the electricity to pay at the office. And once you trust your employees, you could work from home and get the work done still. So you'll see now, there's going to be more teleworking happening in St. Kitts than before, because now they've used the technology, they've realized the advantage.
Okay, you mentioned something there. There's a new direction of teleworking, and there might not be a need for staff, basically, if we're going to be...
Not as much staff.
Not as much. But that can be a detriment to the unemployment rate, to the employment rate here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Well, you will think so, because many people thought that with technology that there'll be less jobs in general. But as you notice, as technology advances in every way, new technology, while it may make you more efficient and lose less labor in one point, it creates new jobs other places. So the same jobs won't be there, but there will be new jobs. For example, so you may not have as much cashiers or as much people manning your office, but you may hire more IT support. You may hire more cloud services, more backup. You may hire more drivers. So there's a balance, and it cannot be stopped. So technology has to move forward. It's a tool like any other. And we all are always ambivalent, thinking that robots and technology would replace us. But all we have to do is learn the new technology and see new opportunities that the technology will open up also.
Okay. In terms of, because the general consensus is the older folks are not that much receptive to technology and institutional integrating that into the business. What more you think can be done to have people better understand that technology is the new way to go in business?
Well, in business is a very simple thing, and it's about following the money. And this time has actually, this kind of environment is what is proving it. It's what's telling business owners, here, look, here's what this technology can do for you. And it's all in the numbers. If business owners see that the technology is profitable for them, they will buy in. And that's what, unfortunately, one of the weaknesses we have, most tech people have, I don't know if you'll ever heard of it, that there's a lot of technology people who are just simply into technology and they don't actually know how to talk to people or don't know how to translate the technology to people. They can work with the computers, and if they try to speak or explain to somebody else who's not techie, they do it too advanced or they make people feel a little stupid. And so there's a lot of what needs to happen really is us as technology service providers need to provide that balance between business and technology so that people are not afraid or feel intimidated by the technology.
I think that's the concerning part, because when you tell someone, hey, look, you need to build a website, and then you go deeper into the actual nits and gritties of the importance of having a website and all the codes and all of that, I think that is where you kind of tend to lose people, because they don't fully understand the nits and gritties and all of that that's within there. So they say, hey, look, that's too complicated. That's rocket science from a man like me who's only into accounting.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's the issue. So is it a case that you think we need to educate more, have maybe simple courses, training for some of the business owners, business managers, for them to fully understand that, hey, look, business in the age of COVID-19 is IT?
Yes, not training as in official training, because business people don't have time to sit down and do training. What really you have to do is show them. You have to provide a value proposition to business people. You need, as technology providers, we need to say, hey, here is how this benefits you. Once you could sell that value proposition to say, hey, this is what you're doing now for business. This is how our technology will make you more efficient, and this is what your sales will be compared to what it is now. Or this is what sales you will lose if you continue down this path, and this is what will happen. This is what you have to do to keep your current sales. When you speak numbers and value proposition, that's when business people listen. They really don't. The technology, they're willing to use it or not use it. They really don't care about the technology as much as the business. So it's on us as technology service providers to show business people, hey, there is value in using this technology, and this is the way of the world. And once you can show them that, they'll come ahead.
But from a business perspective, I will ask the question, how over the next 5 to 10 years is this going to benefit my business if I'm going to be switching to a digital arm of my business, and then I have to switch again down the road? What would you tell somebody in that regard?
Well, technology is like that. Technology is not stagnant. Every year, there are new versions of every software. There's new hardware. And basically, there is a value proposition. Basically, you have to sell the return on investment. You need to say, okay, for example, while you may have to change your technology now, so you may have to change all of your computers now as a capital expense. But eventually, you'll have to upgrade your software. But this software is going to basically increase your reach. Instead of just selling to people who walk into your store, you now have a global market or a regional market. And now you could sell to people and you could target people in Nevis, St. Kitts, Trinidad, anywhere you want to. You have a different market totally. So that is the value proposition, to show, hey, not only when you change your business technology now, you're not just staying stagnant. Every year it will improve. Every year, as technology improves, everything becomes more efficient. For example, before we used to have big computer networks. You need to have a server and 10 computers in your office. Now everything is in the cloud. You could now pay monthly. You pay $100 a month. You don't have to buy any equipment, and everything is stored in the cloud. That depends on good internet infrastructure, which I think is now much better than a few years ago. We have very good IT infrastructure, especially compared to our neighbors here in the Caribbean.
Okay, just before we take the break, though, somebody would want the layman who doesn't understand the importance of the cloud. If you could go a little bit deeper into the cloud, because somebody who's like me, who's not into so much tech, but understand some aspect of technology, would understand the importance of a cloud. But if you could just explain to the ordinary man out there, the businessman, what is a cloud and what role that plays.
Okay. All a cloud is a computer that is not on your physical property because it's still on a server. So, for example, everybody here access emails. All emails have always been in the cloud. It's just the term now is now changed. Because an email server is a physical computer sitting at your service provider's office, like at Flow. So Flow has a server there, physical computer, that has all your emails in it. When you log on to your computer and you type in your email and your password, you're actually on a computer in Flow's office. And it's the same thing with all the cloud services. So therefore, you're paying your service provider for the electricity, for having the physical computer, for having an IT person maintain that computer. But because the cost is shared among thousands and hundreds of people, your cost, your slice is less because you're using the same physical infrastructure that other people are using instead of having everybody buy their own server. So instead of, it's just like insurance, really. Instead of everybody covering the full cost, everybody pay a small amount and one person buy the big product.
To me, the cloud is important. I mean, I don't use the big technological aspect of the cloud. You know, you start your one document here, you could always access it somewhere else, you know, and that's important, especially for business people. You can always be able to access your documents, your software, whatever it is, any part of the world, whether or not you're traveling, you have a meeting, somebody's back in St. Kitts and you're in Australia and you have the presentation to do, you can just access it. That's the age of digital technology. We'll continue with the discussion on the other side of the break with acknowledge our sponsors.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta, drink the real Fruta, your favorite Fruta, the natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Flow's new combo plan, the people's plan.
Combo, got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow.
I want a combo, but not for my belly. I for me cell phone, so me call anybody. Call Mr. Man, call Granny. On the island, Flow, come, boom.
Yes, there is no need for to force no more. Cause with Flow combo plan, you're paying less for more.
Flow got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow.
Dial star 129 number sign to activate your combo plan today.
Welcome back to today's edition of Voices. I'm Jermine Abel, and for this segment of the program, we're talking IT in the age of COVID-19 and digitizing businesses, basically. We know everybody has been social distancing and wearing face masks and so forth in the age of COVID-19. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, it's no different. Businesses now have to transition online. So what does that mean for businesses here in St. Kitts and Nevis and the ordinary man on the street? We have IT Solutions. Tishon Thomas. I'm bad with names.
That's okay.
I'm terrible with names. How does small businesses, because we have a lot of those small enterprises here in St. Kitts and Nevis, how does moving to a digital age assist small businesses? When we look around 4th Street, for example, we have a number of small businesses, whether it be a business selling clothing, some selling appliances, some selling cosmetics. How does moving to the digital age assist those specific small businesses?
actually moving to the digital age actually levels the playing fields for small businesses when it compares to competition with big businesses. Because all of a sudden, we're all online. And so just like as small countries can now compete with bigger countries through technology, the same advantage that small businesses have. Because all of a sudden now we're competing for the best product because our delivery platform is now equal. Instead of TDC, well, I don't want to call names, but instead of a bigger business having a bigger, more flashy building, more nicer parking lot, all of a sudden you could have just as good a website as a bigger company and compete at the same level. And visually, your customers are able to access you just as easily as they could access a big company. And so I think, in a way, it is an advantage because you could scale much more easily, and you could go. And websites, just like any other thing, can go from simple to complex, and so you could slowly go it. So it actually creates, with small businesses, capital and starting capital is usually one of the things that prevent them. When you use technology, it is a much smaller step to start, because all of a sudden you don't have to get a rent on 4th Street. You don't have to rent a building. You don't have to do any of this. All you need is a computer, a credit card to buy some cloud services, and you can start.
So in essence, this is basically assisting the small businesses over the large enterprise.
Yes, it does. It does create. It does create an economies of scale for small businesses that large enterprises already had an advantage on.
Okay, one question that's going to be buzzing around is St. Kitts and Nevis, but not limited to St. Kitts and Nevis, the Caribbean itself. We have a lot of people who, as you would have mentioned earlier, hate using technology.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not singling out the older generation, but you have those, let's say, for example, the fisherman, the vendor on the street, those in the market, the older generation, the younger person who don't trust the bank. How is the advancement of technology and this COVID-19 assisting people like those who, for example, love to have cash in hand?
Well, I would say how it's assisting them, it's more giving them a kick to push them forward, because it's creating a situation where you must adapt to the new technology in order to survive. And just like any entrepreneur know, adapting is how you survive. In the gig economy, as you say, a lot of these people are people who may not even be registered and things like that. And all of a sudden, they have to find new ways to survive.
Yep.
And the good thing is that technology, you could start using it by simply using your phone. Just getting the first step is a smartphone. Then you might get a computer. But you can start very small. And the barriers to entry is very low.
Yeah. Because, as you would know, I don't want to single out the older generation, but we know there's some people who are very, very stubborn. You can bring the whole world to them, and they'll still tell you, hey, look, I don't trust banks, I don't trust credit cards, I don't trust debit cards. And those are the people who you need to attract in the age of COVID-19, because as somebody was telling me now, a lot of the banks, and when we had a discussion yesterday, you indicated that a lot of the banks are trying to ease away from people coming into the bank. So, you have a check to clear, you're just punching the numbers and it's cleared immediately. How do we get it over to those people out there that, hey, look, this is an important and this is essential in this modern day and age, especially when we have COVID-19?
Well, for me, it actually comes down to people. When for those type of people who are adamantly against technology, the reason most people adamant against technology. It's the simple thing. We fear that which we do not understand. And a lot of people fear technology because they do not understand it. So it's on the business community to explain to the clients, to basically make it easier for their clients to understand and to access their services, and to say, hey, here's how simple you can access our services. And so you reduce the friction, you reduce the amount of steps that the customers have to use. And once they start to understand it, then they use it. But people fear, a lot of fear is based on non-understanding. And if you could, as you say, educate them, and there are different types of education. All of it does not have to be official. You could use marketing to educate, or you could educate them at the point of service. For example, they want to come in the bank. When you get them in the bank, hey, come, I'm going to show you how to use the ATM, and then you do that for a month, and then you will see over the time you'll have more and more people using the ATM to do services that they thought they had to stand up in a line for 5 hours for. They get it done in 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
What we're doing now is, at the grassroots level, we're focusing on educating children in terms of the next generation of IT specialists, computer designers, web designers, coders, and so forth. But I know I asked you this earlier, but how do we create this niche that we can actually get those stubborn people to actually understand? Because the direction that we're literally heading right now is stay out the banks, input your information, and we get this there. Do you think more can be done? Do you think we're doing enough? Do you think from a government level?
We definitely can do it enough, and it's not really government alone, but any business, it has to be done. Unfortunately, we are dealing with people. So it has to be done. To be practical, it has to be done at the point of service. So you'll have the people who understand technology using it. Now, the people who don't understand technology will be coming to the physical store. So it is on the businesses themselves to say, hey, how can we encourage our customers to use the technology that we have?
So if I'm getting this, we need to basically simplify that process, whether it be at the business level or
at customer service level, at business level. Like when that customer that doesn't want to use technology come in the store, you show them how to use technology. Mine is going to take time because then it will slow down service levels. But that is what you have to do. You have to start teaching them using the technology as they come in the store. And unfortunately, you can't call them and have a class because everybody's busy.
Well, I can argue this because there were reports from a particular financial institution. I would not call their names. We did a couple of reports on them, but in one of the territories, they had an issue in terms of reintegrating or changing over to this new technology, and that process basically took longer than they had projected, and it basically hit the consumers hard in their pockets. Right. Now, how do you tell somebody who has experienced that, and this is throughout the region, that we're in the age of technology and you and I need to move to this, that is mobile banking. You tell a businessman, hey, look, instead of sending your payroll to the bank and we have to input it, you can just have your accountant or somebody there just input that into the system there. When I'm looking around the region and I'm seeing all of these problems are actually happening with the technology. So
you're saying that problem with the technology or problem using the technology?
Basically.
Okay, because that is what has happened. So this is what I tell you. You have to follow the money. So what institutions are doing are saying, here's what, we have a cost-effective technology for you to use. And they're saying, if you refuse to use it, you will pay more.
Okay, we have a caller. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
With regards to the use of the cloud, there are many who feel a certain discomfort with having their basic business data and even more importantly, their business software being stored somewhere else that they have no control over. One hears all of the talk of networks being hacked, even the biggest names. From time to time, hackers get in and exploit gaps in their systems. Why should the small business owner who is more comfortable having a server sitting in the corner of their house or their office have the comfort to trust this valuable information to an anonymous site located somewhere in Iceland or some other place? Secondly, with regards to setting up of home offices or having employees work from home, what are the minimum conditions would you recommend to a business owner should be present before they would allow an employee to conduct work from home? And what are the disadvantages? You spoke earlier of the advantages. What are the disadvantages of having employees work remotely from home? Thank you.
Okay. Let me answer the first one about the cloud. That security issue and control issue comes up all the time in our line of businesses. And how I usually approach it is that I said to people, do you use email? And do you send any secure communication through email? Just about all emails are in the cloud already. So if you have sensitive information that you send through email, you're already trusting another entity with your private information. The other thing is when you have your server in your home, what you lack, according to our IT policy, you should have your information backed up locally and in the cloud. Reason being, because if you had a fire or if you had somebody break in and stole that physical server, you also lose all your information and it's unrecoverable. Now, if you have a fire or you have somebody steal your server and it's also in the cloud, that is what we call disaster mitigation, because you have access to your data. Especially a lot of times customers come to us and when they lose, like their hard drive crash, and there's a hard crash where it's unrecoverable, and they've lost information, for example, their account receivable information. They do, like in QuickBooks. So they may have thousands of dollars outstanding in payments, and they don't know who owe them because the data was only one place, and it was on that one server. It wasn't backed up, or if it was backed up, it was backed up on the same computer that crashed. So imagine you have your data. Mine is physically safe, but then it got corrupted, it's stolen, and it's nowhere else. So cloud access is multiple. It is a multiple advantage. It's in the cloud, it's secure. You don't have, there's a possibility of hacking, but there's a possibility of hacking your server too. Once your computer is connected to the internet, once somebody is willing to spend more resources than you have to get to your data is not secure. So that is what term security. There's no real full security. Once somebody, for example, if you have $10,000 in your house and somebody is willing to spend $20,000 to get to your house is not secure.
But then,
because they're willing to put as much effort in as possible.
But just before you go on to the next question, you're basically saying the difficult part or the most expensive part, from my understanding, of this entire digitizing of businesses, it's basically the cloud and the storage?
Yes, the most difficult. What people don't trust is having, for example, hey, like in the day of 9/11, when there was all this terrorist stuff and so on, we've had SK90 Solutions have had our own cloud backup solutions for about 5 years now, and it was extremely hard to sell in the day when America was doing this terrorism thing, because lawyers didn't want to store their information on American servers, because once it's on American servers, the U.S. government could basically access it by getting a warrant to get your information. Now that has gone down, we have more people buying in, and a lot more of our customers are now using cloud services. And we've had situations, I've had a customer that went to Europe and lost his computer on the airport. So I mean, physically lost the computer, and he has meetings. So what he did, he called us, he said, okay, he said he could buy on your computer. He went, bought on your computer, logged into our cloud server where his information was being backed up every day, and pulled down all his information up to the documents that he created the night before. And he was able to have his meeting successfully. And that's the power of the cloud.
I mean, I see that benefit because I use Google a lot, and I love their operations. The caller wanted to just to get the server, in-home server, the disadvantages and advantages of using those.
So this disadvantage of using an in-home server, as I said, is mainly the upfront cost, because an in-home server is a capital cost. It might run you about, a small business server run you about average $10,000 to $15,000 as a capital setup, and then you add the domain. You have to use Windows 10 Professional instead of Windows 10 Home. So the startup cost is what really stop most people from setting up in-home servers. But the advantage is that you have total control of your software. I mean, even if you have it on the internet, you have full physical security and physical access. And physical security is the main security, because once somebody could physically access your server, it doesn't matter what passwords you have on there. If they're willing to spend the resources to hire somebody like us to get into your information, they could get your information.
I mean, one of the major IT guys one time told us the way in which to secure whether it be your Gmail, your email accounts, or any password sort of thing is the length of the passwords, and to split it up in terms of commas, hyphens, and so forth. How true is that?
Okay,
just quickly, we have a caller. Caller, good morning.
Yes, my question was not about the physical location of a server at home. It was about the management of the human resources. When you say to an employee, you can work at home, what are the appropriate criteria that you think are necessary to entrust your employee to be doing work at home, such as, can you monitor what they're doing, how many hours per day they're at work? Are they goofing off, pretending to be at work when they're actually sitting out at Majors Bay? And what are the disadvantages of giving employees that option of working physically away from your office?
Okay, I get you. Because we've had to deal with that. So the advantages are, okay, the first thing that happens when you ask an employee to work from home, the first important information is who owns the device you're working from home on. So what we've had, most of our businesses have given the employees the computers, so that even if it's a desktop or a laptop, so that the physical device belongs to the business. That way, we're able to install remote control software, key login software that could tell you basically. So we have software that basically could tell when you're actually using the computer, take a screenshot of the computer every couple of seconds and report it to the boss. So basically, So we do a combination of remote control software and basically key login or spying software. So basically, the employees know nothing you do on this device is private and you are being monitored. So that's the first thing. So it's ownership of the device. Now, if the employers don't own the device at home, the best you could do is ask permission to install your software on their computer, but that creates a gray area. So really and truly, that's one of the disadvantage is there's an increased cost, because what most companies have done, for example, there are two setups we do when we do remote control. If you do a VPN, where you could connect to your office over a secure network and access the files like normal, or you could do a remote control where you need two computers. You need to leave your office computer on at work, and you give your employee a laptop, and then that employee uses that laptop or the other computer to remote into that computer that's sitting at your office still. So there are two ways, but in any case, the information remains at the office. But one costs more. One requires two devices and a less simple setup, and the other will require a more complicated setup, which is a VPN, a virtual private network, and one device, because instead of using two devices, you just use the one device at home. And so that's the advantage is mainly cost and control in terms of security of your information.
Okay. We'll acknowledge our sponsor right now. We'll continue with the discussion when we return.
Here comes the sun.
Sun quick.
Here comes the sun.
Sun quick.
Sunny flavors for everyone. Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sun Quick.
Sun Quick Drink Concentrate gives you 40 glasses. 9 delicious flavors to choose from.
Orange tropical mango.
Peach orange, orange apricot, black currant,
Apple. Red orange. Red fruit.
bursting with vitamin C.
Sun quick.
Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sun Quick.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 30 days of unlimited social messaging, 10 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, and 1,000 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $100. Keep your number when you switch to St. Kitts' most reliable LTE network. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Welcome back to today's edition of Voices. We're talking IT in the age of COVID-19, and we have Tishon Thomas with us. You know, he's everything techie tech, you know. Just before we took the call, I was asking you about passwords and security and the length of it. Is it the length of the passwords, the information that you input for the password that is key? Because we were told that, you know, sometimes it's the length, but it has to be a mixture.
Yeah, let me tell you where that comes from. Basically, in order to secure your data, both on your computer and in transmission, the best way to secure your data is something we call encryption. And cryptography, most people might have heard it from spy movies. You send a message and it's encoded, and the other person have to have the code in order to understand the message. And it's really the same thing. It is encryption. But what happens, why you need a complicated password, which is usually a mix of capital, common letters, characters, and symbols, why mixing them up makes it harder is because there's a tool in computers that attempt to crack what we call cracking your passwords using a mathematical algorithm, but is using a computer to guess your password. And basically, the more characters you have, the more time the computer takes to crack your password. If it's too simple, It's you could use what we call it a brute force attack. A brute force attack software could guess 1 million passwords in seconds. So the more and if your password is very simple, the software is going to guess your password quickly. So the more characters, the more combination the computer has to guess, and so it just takes longer to guess.
Yeah, because I was in the middle of a training, and that was actually brought up, and then when we were reviewing the passwords, the computer said, "Hey, you guys have to wait another 200 years before we actually give you the passwords."
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but in terms of, you're talking about crypto and encrypting and all of that. In terms of sharing information, is it key for us to have a VPN to share those private information of the company?
Yes, because what a VPN, or all a VPN does, a VPN is what it means, virtual private network. It basically, instead of sending the company information over the internet, which may be unsecure, because I don't know if most people know, when you request information over the internet, it goes through several servers before it reaches you. And any one of those points, it could be intercepted. So what a VPN does is create a secure tunnel between the office and your computer, and says, any information I send when I'm connected to this VPN is private to this network. So even if it's intercepted, it's encrypted, so it cannot be read by anybody who basically try to go in the middle and steal it. So that is the importance of a VPN.
I think you have to break it down for some people, because people have this idea of that VPN being those VPN that a lot of people use to stream movies.
Oh, no, yeah.
So you would have to break that down for them.
So there are two types of VPNs. So what I'm talking about is a business VPN, which is between your computer and the company's server, which has files on it. The VPN that most people use, like for Netflix, is basically it's a VPN to hide your IP address, to say, hey, I'm not in St. I'm in the US. So it's very similar, but it's a VPN hosted for internet traffic only, for websites, to basically fool what you call geolocation devices. Because if you're on the internet, you'll notice if you're on Google search, Google knows if you're in St. Kitts, Antigua, based on your IP address, because IP addresses are assigned to countries. And so all of a general VPN does, for internet purposes, it gives you a different country assigned IP addresses, so that Google and other big services like Facebook and Yahoo think that you're in another country, like a bigger country, and then they'll allow you to access their services.
Only one challenge with that is your system moves slow when you're doing those VPNs. So.
Yes, because you create a bottleneck, because your traffic is now being rerouted, and so you slow down.
Okay, tell us a bit about how you got involved in the whole IT and how IT solutions came about.
Well, that's a very long story, but basically, I don't know if you know my story, but I know
a bit of it. Yeah.
I grew up in the children's home, and I got into IT because of a donation by Social Security at the time. They gave 2 computers to the children's home. There were computers around, but we had no internet then. And then one of the workers at Social Security also gave me a book called HTML for Dummies. That's the way. Before now you could just type a website. Mm-hmm. Before you had to use HTML tags in Notepad. And if you ever see HTML code, you have to learn HTML code. You have to type every color, every link and everything. And so I started learning to build websites on my own without the use of the internet. And the fact that I could create something from nothing actually inspired me into IT. And so I started, following IT. I did IT at school with Mr. Deepak. And then I went on to do IT and software engineering at CFBC. I actually was trained more as a programmer, but I loved IT so much that when an opportunity came at Ross University to be an intern at like $300 a month, I ran for it. And I worked there for about 4 months, and I learned all the hardware and networking that I could. Because before I was just a programmer, just coding. And then, so that created the balance for me. Then I went to Hosford to be a network administrator, back to Ross to be a computer programmer, then to be IT manager at Christoph Harbour, then IT manager at the Marriott Hotel. And then I decided, I think the business, I think more people could benefit from our skills. Both my business partner, me and Winston Martin. So I decided to leave Marriott and start out on my own to basically provide IT services, because one of the things I used to see, and which is what I hated, I used to see like any big company had any IT work to do, they were always bringing in foreigners. And I thought, I'm smart, and there must be other smart people here in St. Kitts. Why can't we do this work? And that was one of my pressing things that basically propelled me to say, let's start SKN IT Solutions and show these businesses that we can perform IT at a level as any foreigner. Because education is what you call, it levels the playing field. Anything that somebody from the US can learn, I can learn right here. I don't have to go to the US to learn to fix a computer. I mean, right now we do work for US companies now. And they hire us to do work, they pay us from the US. Imagine that. And we're right here in St. Kitts. So it levels the playing field. And I still think that we don't have enough IT people here. I think we could do much more. I want to do much more. And that's what SKN IT Solutions is doing. For me, they say, be the change you want to see in the world, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so. If you you said all of that. So what is the primary focus of IT Solutions?
Oh, SKN IT Solutions.
Yes.
Is what it's defined as we do both. We are both a infrastructure IT company and an operations IT company. Infrastructure, so which means we do cabling from the ground up, from the time you're building your house. We design the data network to say, hey, put a data here, put a TV there, and put a security camera there, access control there. So we do all of that design. And then we then support it afterwards. So we say, hey, we built your network for you, and your network needs maintenance. We'll provide that maintenance. So you have a staff that says, oh, my computer is not working, or I can't access this file, or the printer is not working. We provide help desk support for that. We can either do it remotely, or we could send a technician to you and get it resolved quickly. So we call SKN IT Solutions an infrastructure and operations company that design and implement pragmatic solutions.
Okay. Any parting words in terms of the direction in which businesses have to go in the age of digitizing their businesses in the age of COVID-19, because that's the way we're going after the COVID-19 has passed?
Yes, I just want to say to all businesses, not just businesses, because a lot of people think that, hey, we're such a big company, we don't do anything for the small man. We do both businesses and consumers. So come to SKN IT Solutions at Church Street, right next to Fancy Loaf Deli, or you could go to our website, sknitsolutions.com, or you can call us at 465-2731 to digitize your business and get the best in technology solutions that will basically solve any problem. This is what we are called solutions. We provide pragmatic and realistic solutions for both business and consumers.
And just before you go, business have been receptive to all of this?
Yes.
Okay, it's just about that time where we have to take a break for the headline news. Just before we go, I'm just going to shout out the nurses who have been playing a critical role in the fight against COVID-19 here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Today is International Nurses Day. Headline news is up next. Be back for the next hour where we have Janelle Powell and Ambassador Janelle Powell and Congress Maynard for the second hour of the program.